Hey, what's up, everyone? As you probably have heard, if you're not already going through these storms and have not dealt with them right now, you've probably seen it on the news, and you might remember my video I did a few days ago. Actually, I did that video last Thursday, I believe, regarding these storms, where I stated that this week the Midwest and central areas of the United States could be dealing with, and the southern areas, like from Texas through Missouri and through basically right through these areas right here where I'm circling, could be dealing with strong storms. And then later in the week, probably Friday, the areas I'm circling through here could deal with stronger storms on Friday. But as I stated earlier last week, last Thursday, so 6 days ago, I made a video stating that just in case, just to hopefully prepare you all, if you're in the path of these storms, that these storms were on the way. There was a perfect scenario situation, and AccuWeather, Weather.com, and various other sources were talking about it, but not too much. I had it in my Google News feed, and I decided to warn you all, especially when I seen that there was so much moisture. The jet stream was positioned perfectly, pushing up the Gulf air moisture, and when these storms started rolling through, there was this wind shear, and the high and low pressure systems were positioned perfectly to create this perfect scenario with this warm air mass. It's very warm and humid, and this warm air mass is supposed to be nearly 90 degrees several days this week here. And that's pretty warm for, I remember 2012 or 13 maybe, it was 90 degrees in May. And years ago, like in 2006, it was 90 degrees in April. And I think it was like near April Fool's Day in our area. So I specifically remember, I don't know whether it's gone now, the documentation I can't find, but I remembered it because it was super hot, our vehicle had quit, and it was years ago. We had to park in the shade, we had to turn it off every little bit. It was having some major issues. That was in 2006 that happened. And the year before, my granny had passed away, and I said I don't know how she would have lived through that. I don't think she would have been able to make it because the temperature was, I remember 126 degrees was the feel like, the real field temperature that year. And then in 2012, I think we broke an all-time record of the actual air temperature high, the actual temp being 109 degrees. So we've had several records we've broken over the past several years. But this storm, this massive system, there's 4 of them, I believe, to roll through. Probably a couple more later this week. And I did mention them and warn about them in case you live in those areas last week. If you remember that I mentioned these storm systems rolling in, I said they were likely last Thursday, and it is coming to fruition. It's coming into play, and these storm systems are moving through. We have the high and low pressure system positioned perfectly, pulling in the warm air mass from the Gulf, and this jet stream, as you can see there labeled, is pushing this along and creating this perfectly fueled storm system. And it's just all in perfect position. They had some wind shear a few days ago where the wind shear creates the likelihood of a tornado. You have these varying winds from 2 different directions. And when you see that, heavy winds, high winds coming from 2 different directions, it can create these spin-ups of tornadoes. And that's what they've been seeing in all across the Midwest and central southern areas, Kansas, places like that. This was actually videoed. There was a tornado that was actually videoed in this system, and someone actually got it on video. And this huge hailstone here as well. This looks like a wall cloud where the rain is about to come down, and this is what this week's weather pattern, severe threat setup is. The green looks like a lot of rain, basically, especially toward the end of the week for the central areas, such as Tennessee, the Tennessee Valley, places like like that. So the tornadoes, strong wind, and giant hail the size of grapefruits were actually reported in parts of Nebraska and Kansas on Tuesday as a multi-day severe weather threat began in the central United States due to what is shaping up to be a classic early May setup in the nation's heartland. As I stated months ago in the predictions back in February, that's actually what's happening with the severe storms taking off early. And there were 3 major storm systems in March, and then in late March we had cold weather. Basically we turned to winter in April, and then it's been up and down, warm and cold. Inconsistent weather patterns, to say the least. The jet stream has now taken a southward plunge over the west, and this feature will gradually slide into the plains. Basically over those states over the next several days, providing pulses of energy at roughly 30,000 feet above the ground. So that is one of those perfect storm scenarios to create all of this chaos. Now, the overall jet stream and surface ingredients could make for what could be widespread severe weather over multiple days in the plains and the Midwest again next week. So a repeat situation could take place. So be prepared for that if you live in that area, or at least be aware of it. I know there's really nothing you can do about this sort of thing. Nothing that we can do, really, but this will give rise to rounds of severe thunderstorms, tornado, high winds. As you can see in this video of the radar shown, lightning each day, all of these things, and evening as well, and even in parts of the plains in Midwest through Thursday, just as I stated a few days ago. You can see all of the wind shear and all of the rotation seen on radar in this video, if the video will play. But this is the rotation shown from the video. That's a lot of rotation being seen in this storm on radar. Current radar in eastern Nebraska, plenty of thunderstorm warnings and a tornado warnings north of Wahoo. That was by the National Weather Service. They told them to take shelter. That was May 1st. Yesterday's tornadoes. There was a confirmed tornado touchdown near Fairbury in southeastern Nebraska. A second likely tornado. This looks like this is from Weather Nation. That's where this was reported. You can see their logo on the bottom left of the screen. So thanks to them for uploading this. A second tornado likely touchdown near Glasgow, Kansas, and moved northeastward toward northern Kansas. The tornado crossed Highway 81, 8 miles west of Aurora, with several power poles snapped along its path. So this is from Tescott, Kansas. Caleb Elliott uploaded this and shared it with Weather Nation. This is of the storm system. I believe this is the tornado from the way it looks. And then it just goes very dark. So at least one possible tornado touchdown near Marquette, Nebraska, but no damage was reported. Another possible tornado was reported near Donovan, Nebraska, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, maybe Donovan, with light damage, to outbuildings reported by the Donovan Fire Department. A wedge tornado caused damage to one home near Tescott, Kansas, but no injuries were reported. Several power poles were snapped at the ground in Culver by this tornado, shown below. This is the one that brought several power lines down. I believe this weather video is courtesy of AccuWeather. Yes, AccuWeather.com at ReadTimer Accu. That was the Twitter handle, the Twitter user's name. So definitely this very dark tornado moving along very close to the person that's recording it. And then their feed goes out there. Yesterday's high winds. A semi-truck was jackknifed on a highway as strong winds whipped through Wilson, Kansas. Officials shut down the eastbound lanes on the highway. Outbuildings in Shelby, Iowa were destroyed or badly damaged by strong winds Tuesday. A pole barn was collapsed and grain bins were also damaged as well. Yesterday's hail, on the other hand, was also very, very large and damaging. As you've seen in the tweet that I mentioned a moment ago, some hail up to the size of a grapefruit was reported from northern Kansas to southern and southeastern Nebraska. That's a picture of the giant hailstones, as they called them, which struck Kansas on May 1st of this year. And the extreme weather will continue through Thursday. See this sort of spiky hail shown here, which has been quite common since 2004, really. This hail in this person's hand, they look like baseballs. Some more images of the hail. So what's going on there? Well, as I kind of preluded to before, the jet stream has now taken a southward plunge over the west, and this will feature gradually. This feature will gradually slide into the plain states over the next several days, providing pulses of energy at roughly 30,000 feet above the ground. To the east of that, increasingly warm and humid air is being drawn northward from the Gulf of Mexico into the plains of the Midwest. And this looks like a wall cloud, I believe. Extreme weather outbreak. This is an image from the thunderstorms, the tornadoes, and giant hail, and the high winds and everything that coupled together and created this wall cloud here. The combination of all of this of cold and dry air aloft, overlying this warm, humid air near the surface, changing wind speed and direction with height, known as wind shear, sources of lift such as frontal boundaries, and the dry line is a classic spring pattern for severe weather, especially in the plain states. This will give rise to rounds of thunderstorms each day and each evening in parts of the plains and Midwest through Thursday. So if you live in that area and in the areas affected, basically get prepared, or at least try to stay as safe as possible. So that's all for this video. I'm going to post the link to this below, and I will be giving you updates to more of the occurrences taking place that we see regarding weather phenomenon and things like that very soon. So I'll definitely post the link below. I'm going to go ahead and copy the link so that I don't forget about it. And I thank you all for watching. You can find this on the Strange Sounds Twitter page, or go to Google and search Strange Sounds or in the severe weather. So the severe weather ramping up in the Midwest, producing all of these storms and tornadoes and everything, and these are the current conditions and outlook for the rest of the week. I'm going to leave you with that and this tornado picture. So stay safe, or at least as safe as possible. This has been a weather update. I thank you for watching. You can feel free to email me at the email that I'll post below, and you can also leave your comments in the comment section below. Let me know you made it through these storms safely, and I will try to give you updates as these systems progress. So much love. That's all for now. Peace. Bye.